lineup here on the Now. We know how expensive healthcare can be, and you may have seen offers for medical credit cards to help, but we're going to take a look at some of the concerns with those. And police officers are there to protect us, but fewer people want the job. Where typical applicants are going instead, and how agencies are trying to get them back. And laws that prohibit certain offenders from owning a gun may not go far enough. We're looking into if efforts to voluntarily turn those weapons in are working.
And thank you for joining us here on the Now Indy on your Thursday afternoon and evening. We've got clouds and some of us dealing with some rain and downpours. Even had a few flashes of lightning out there. I would say that our severe weather threat is going to remain fairly low here as we go through the next couple of hours, but we still have that marginal risk from Rockville, Indianapolis, Richmond as we work our way to the south, and even that slight risk still in place for you around Bedford and Seymour there just to the south of Sullivan. Here's a look at Storm Team 6 radar. You can see the heaviest of the rainfall has been to the south, moving through much of Jackson County along Highway 50 right now. Some pockets of heavier rain, even a flash of lightning around Nashville, but nothing severe here. We haven't had any warnings, and we've got some more general rain moving back into the Indianapolis area. So here's a look at TrueCast 7 o'clock this evening. Still those showers and thunderstorms from around Crawfordsville, Muncie, and areas to the south. Don't think we'll see a whole lot of rain in northern communities here as we go through this evening. 9 o'clock, still some scattered showers, but at that point, we're looking at those thunderstorms moving off to the east, and we'll actually start to see some clearing taking shape as we go into the overnight. Temperatures are mild right now. We are in the 50s. We'll stay mild for much of the night, but it does turn colder in our Friday forecast. More on that in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Working for you, Shirley Matthews sent us an email expressing frustration with the flooding in her neighborhood in Greenwood. She blamed the retention pond behind her home for the problem. RTV6's Rafael Sanchez reached out to the city and the pond's owner and learned they had a plan of attack.
It's a good-sized pond. It's a very good-sized pond back there.
Beyond the trees is where Shirley Matthews looked with fear every time it rained.
It's ruining our property. You know, it's jeopardizing our property.
In June 2019, these are the images she can't forget from her Greenwood neighborhood. This was South Reston Road overwhelmed with water. This past January, the flooding wasn't as bad, but people are fed up.
It's very annoying because anytime there's at least an inch of rain, it's coming through. And it fills my crawl space with water.
Behind their homes was the problem. This retention pond belonging to Menards. Menards tells RTV6 that in 2019, the pond overflowed due to heavy rains and a population of beavers damming it up. The retailer hired a contractor in June 2019 to fix the retention pond, but the project was hampered by the heavy record rains. We reached out to the city of Greenwood, which has also been working on this issue.
It was good that the homeowners called and said, hey, we still continue to have a problem, and allowed us to contact Menards and say, hey, you need to fix this problem.
RTV6 has been monitoring the homeowners' concerns since mid-January to see what would happen. Menards kept its word. Improvements have been made to their pond and surrounding area to prevent flooding in the neighborhood. Now when Shirley looks beyond the trees, she has greater confidence that her home won't flood. Working for you in Greenwood, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And they haven't had any flooding since the improvements. This story right now is posted on our website at theindychannel.com. And the Indiana Attorney General's office has won a $1.3 million settlement to help reimburse taxpayers in the 2017 truck crash that damaged the Rockville Road. A truck crashed into the Rockville Road Bridge overpass on I-465 in January 2017, causing more than $1 million in damage at the expense of taxpayers. The Attorney General's office filed a lawsuit against the driver and the trucking company and obtained a huge settlement. After the crash, Indiana State Police cited the company, Twins Trucking, with 11 different violations, including failure to prevent cargo shifting. The Attorney General says taxpayers should not be responsible for damages caused to public highways due to the negligent actions of others.
More schools are canceling classes or going online out of caution to prevent further spreading of the coronavirus. That leaves both educators and families scrambling.
Teachers are the scrappiest people you've ever met, and they can pull stuff together really quickly. But this is quite a huge challenge for someone who's never done it before.
Common Sense Media rates entertaining and educational media for kids, and they also provide free educational resources for parents and teachers. Education VP Liz Klein says several tools are necessary to execute virtual classes. A learning management system that allows teachers to assign work and students to turn that work in. Video lesson plans to share out. Conferencing software so students can ask questions, and messaging software for teachers and parents to communicate. But being tech-driven creates concerns about education equity. Last year, Common Sense found 1 in 10 children don't have internet access. Also a concern, making sure kids don't miss out on other important times.
You know, kids aren't going to be at recess. They aren't going to be at PE. And so we have to make sure that they have, you know, the necessary time to get out and move. And that is a key part of, you know, being a successful learner.
Common Sense has resources for educators and parents facing closures on their website. Congress is shutting down the Capitol and all House and Senate office buildings to the public in response to the coronavirus. Only lawmakers, staff, and journalists will be allowed in. Now, this move is in effect until April. 2 cruise lines have put operations on hold. Princess cruise ships will stay in port for 2 months. That impacts trips leaving through May 10th. Viking Cruises is canceling trips through April 30th. Both companies say impacted guests can get a refund or use what they've already put forward towards a future cruise. Governments and airlines are scrambling to respond to President Trump's travel ban announcement. The European Union criticized it, saying the coronavirus is a global crisis and should be met with cooperation. As travelers race to get home, American Airlines and Delta say they are capping fares on some flights from Europe to the United States. The restrictions take effect tomorrow at midnight. For 30 days, travel will be suspended into the U.S. from 26 European countries. U.S. citizens are exempt, but they will be required to quarantine for 2 weeks upon their return. All right, let's get back to our lineup. People facing expensive health procedures may consider a medical credit card. We have what you need to consider before you do this.
While supplies last at White Castle.
Welcome back to the Now Indy. 2 new machines have hit the streets of Indianapolis to make the roads you drive on smoother and safer. DPW crews were putting the infrared asphalt machines to good use today on the north side on Boulevard Place between 29th and 30th Streets. These new machines are capable of heating the pavement to 350 degrees and smooth out craters and treat potholes in a more permanent way.
Before, we used to resurface streets and fill potholes. We've added our milling machines where we're doing strip patching all over the city. This is now filling in a little bit more of the gap between pothole filling and our milling. These machines can be specialized for, side streets or very small areas where pothole filling is just not going to do the job anymore.
Parker said with these machines, they can make repairs that last 4 to 5 years instead of coming back again and again to fill potholes. Each machine costs $8,000. And by the way, Parker said the city will launch its second shift pothole repair crew in April. They will work 4 p.m. to 12:30 at night. Chris.
Nearly a third of American families don't get medical care specifically because of the cost. This is according to a new survey from Bankrate.com. Over the past year, it found families opted against everything from medications and vaccinations to just regular checkups. Now, if you're looking for help covering healthcare costs, industry experts say a medical credit card should be your last resort.
They're capitalizing on an audience that doesn't have a whole lot of other options. If you had savings or if you had a bunch of other more desirable credit cards, you should go with those routes.
Analyst Ted Rossman compares medical credit cards to store cards. They can only be used in certain doctors' offices, and they often come with hefty interest rates or deferred interest. You may not have to pay interest at first, But if you don't pay in full by a certain date, you could have to pay all interest that's built up since the original charge. Rossman says you should consider other options. General purpose credit cards typically have lesser interest rates, and they could come with benefits or rewards, and that's something you won't get from a medical credit card. Even a personal loan can be more affordable. Rossman says it never hurts to ask your provider about setting up a payment plan.
You can often get preferred financing through the hospital or through the doctor's office. Sometimes they'll even give you a break on the amount you owe if you pay up front.
Rossman says it is important to shop around and do your homework. Don't just take that high interest card because it was easy to get. Now, ahead in our lineup, one company hopes the vaccine it developed in just hours will be the answer as more people test positive for coronavirus.
We really don't have 2 or 3 years to wait for a vaccine. So that's where we come in at Inovio Pharmaceuticals. We use DNA medicine technology.
We are taking you inside their lab to see their progress on a coronavirus vaccine.
And Keller, right now.
The global race to stop the spread of coronavirus is on. What's usually a marathon is now a full-blown sprint for biotech companies to find a solution. Amanda Brandeis has how one company is hopeful the vaccine they developed in 3 hours will be the answer.
Kate Broderick remembers the day she heard about a mysterious outbreak unfolding thousands of miles away.
Absolutely one of those moments that you distinctly remember, probably will forever.
It was New Year's Eve.
Little did I know, unfortunately, that 2 months on and it would be the crisis that it is right now.
The Scotland researcher works at Inovio Pharmaceuticals in San Diego, a company that's made headlines before by creating vaccines for Zika, Ebola, and now the coronavirus.
We really don't have 2 or 3 years to wait for a vaccine. So that's where we come in at Inovio Pharmaceuticals. We use DNA medicine technology.
After Chinese researchers shared the genetic sequence of COVID-19, Inovio designed a vaccine in 3 hours.
We use E. coli to actually make the DNA medicine.
While traditional vaccines use the virus itself, this method puts the DNA inside the E. coli, which naturally replicates the medicine over and over.
So we'll get about like a kilogram of paste. And then from here, you can see it's frozen right now, but it kind of just looks like peanut butter.
The paste is then purified, leaving behind only the DNA medicine, which Inovio hopes to test in humans next month.
Infectious diseases are global. They don't care about boundaries and borders. Everyone's affected from childhood all the way through seniors.
Phyllis Arthur is the Vice President of Infectious Diseases and Diagnostic Policy at BIO, an association made up of about 1,000 companies. She's tracking nearly a dozen bio companies around the globe working on a coronavirus vaccine. She's following 8 companies trying to find a treatment and several others rushing to develop new tests to detect the virus faster. China, Japan, and South Korea also have domestic companies working on treatments and vaccines. Continued funding will also be critical. Broderick says while their Zika vaccine looked promising in humans, it never ultimately got FDA approval for broad public use.
The cases of the virus really steadily declined. The problem for us there was that so did the funding. This is a point in our careers that we can actually truly, literally make a difference in saving people's lives, right now.
If they make it that far, it too would be a day she'll never forget. Reporting in San Diego, I'm Amanda Brandeis.
Amanda, thank you. And after the company begins human trials in the United States, they'll continue testing in China and South Korea. Now, they do hope to deliver 1 million doses by the end of the year. Some positive news today in the fight against cancer. The CDC reporting overall cancer rates continue to drop from 2001 to 2017, on average 1.5% each year. And this was for all racial and ethnic groups and among men, women, and children. The progress is attributed to improvements in cancer prevention, early detection, and treatment. In fact, rates got low enough to the point they met 2020 goals for reducing deaths among lung, prostate, breast, and colorectal cancer. However, death rates did go up for cancers of the uterus, liver, brain, and soft tissue, including the heart and pancreas. Now, while there is progress in preventing colorectal cancer deaths, it's mainly in the older population. The concern is rates are increasing among younger adults. Screening recommendations are primarily for older Americans. The American Cancer Society encourages those 45 and older to start regular screenings.
What's really important to realize is that what we're trying to do is actually catch polyps, which are the precursors for cancer, so that finding out that you have a polyp and getting it removed could actually prevent cancer.
Colorectal cancer is the second leading cancer killer in the U.S. and one of the most preventable. The CDC revealed today only about 69% of adults 50 and older were up to date on screenings.
A very low threat for thunderstorms this evening, and any of those becoming strong. You can see generally some rain, some of that heavier rain south of North Vernon and Seymour for us. It will continue to progress toward the east as we go through the evening, and actually overnight will dry out. See some clearing here as some colder air moves in. In fact, our Friday will feel a whole lot different. We're going to have those temperatures into the upper 30s tomorrow morning. Right on through 10 o'clock, it will be breezy as well, as temperatures with the clouds around will only make their way back into the upper 40s, but that is seasonal for this time of year. And then going into Saturday, we'll see a mix of some rain and snow showers across the area as we get even colder on Saturday, a high of 39. Temperatures rebound quickly, though, 56 by Monday.